Hi, everybody. So I'm so sorry that I'm not able to do this live with all of you today. I had something come up with my daughter. So I'm trying to record this a little quicker than I might normally do in an effort to try and get back to be able to help with them. But what I wanted to do really quickly is just go over a couple of things really fast from last week and then our reminders for this week. And again, I'm sorry that we aren't having our normal live stream today, but hopefully we can finish up with our last one next week. But as of this morning, or as of yesterday morning, rather, we are in week number 3. And remember, our class that is so short only has 4 weeks to it. So we're right here, week number 3. And so last week, really quickly, just a couple of thoughts. For the most part, I feel like a lot of you have really figured out what I'm looking for. You're doing a great job of answering the discussions in detail and really providing all of that information. The discussions last week, the third one, I really enjoyed reading about all of your dreams. Really, really nicely done sharing your dreams with me. I loved your interpretation of them. The biggest reason that people lost points was just not giving me enough information. As I mentioned to you, I really wanted you to describe the theory and connect it to your dream. And a few of you just said, oh, dream theory number 1, and kind of stopped at that point. So remember to always answer the questions fully and elaborate. A couple of you also still did not respond to a classmate. So don't forget to continue doing that the rest of the way for this week and also next week. For discussion number 4, you were looking at if you had to memorize the 28-digit sequence of letters and numbers. And I'm so sorry if you have that in your mind way longer than you would have liked, or it stays with you forever. But really nicely done talking about some of the things you would do. I enjoyed your stories that you came up with and your sentences and kind of bits of chunking that a lot of you did in order to remember this. Biggest reason people lost points was, again, not enough detail. Some of you gave me the same strategies for seconds versus days. And I really wanted you to give me a different method for your response to seconds versus days. So that's probably the biggest reason that I saw that some of you lost points or just not giving me enough detail. A couple of you also forgot to answer the last question or two here. Maybe you didn't see it, or it just kind of ran out of time. But don't forget to always answer everything fully, always reply to a classmate. Remember that you can always reach out to me if you have questions at all about your grade or you're not getting the full amount of points and want to understand better as to why. The last thing from last week, exam number 2, again, so many of you did so well, which makes me very, very happy to see. So what I saw is that the average amount of time that people took to take the test was 63 minutes, and the average score was 89%. So a little higher score and a little bit longer than the first exam. So for the most part, really, really nicely done. A lot of you did a beautiful job and scored very highly. Please remember, keep using these as a learning opportunity. So if you didn't do as well as you would like, you still have an exam this week and next week. And so it's a wonderful opportunity for you to change things up, maybe study a little differently, complete the study guide if you didn't do that, but try and continue to refine what you're doing and see if you can't continue to either keep doing as well or even do better if you weren't happy with your score. I also really appreciated your honesty and comments in self-assessment number 1. A lot of you talked about feeling really good about the class, struggling with the amount of reading that you needed to do. I know it's a lot. It's a 4-week class, so sometimes that can be a little bit overwhelming. But thank you for your honesty, and several of you did the extra credit. And so I'm glad to see that so many of you are benefiting from this opportunity that I'm giving you. And as a side note, even though we didn't have a live stream today, I am going to give you the extra credit questions, so you have the opportunity to still get those points if you are watching this video. So I'll give that to you in a couple of minutes here. As of yesterday morning, week number 3 and week number 4 have opened up. So at this point, you now have access to everything that is left in the course. And that is on purpose because next week is actually a little bit shorter of a week. So remember that this class ends on a Friday. So this class ends on Friday, the 10th, right? So what that means is that you need to, I'm sorry, Friday the 17th. You're like, oh no, wait, it's ending right now. And so what that means is you really will need to make sure that you get going on everything quickly. And I wanted to give you that extra time if you did need it. So for this week, we're just focusing on week number 3. Make sure that you read chapters 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we're looking at motivation, emotions, human development, and personality. Those are the topics for this week, very core topics to the field of psychology. So read the chapters in the ebook. Also make sure that you read through the lectures and watch the lecture videos, as those materials will definitely be on the exam. You have 2 discussions this week, like you would any week. So discussion number 5, as always, we're 15 points, 13 points for your response to my question, and then 2 for your response to a classmate. So for this one, you're looking at the theories of emotion. And so what I want you to do is explain emotional reactions from all 3 of the main theories that we covered in the book. And then you're also going to think a little bit about some of the ways to spot a lie. And I gave you a little bonus where I tried to lie to you, and I am a very bad liar, as I talked about in the lecture. So enjoy trying to pick out my lies, my one lie that is in there. But make sure you watch the video, and then I also gave you the 2 truths and a lie video below if you were interested in doing that just for fun. It's not worth any points, but just a little bonus that I threw in there for you. And then the other discussion number, kick me out here, discussion number 6. This one has to do with aging. And so for this one, what you'll do is you'll listen to some songs about being a teenager, and then you're either going to go on a field trip, or you can do this virtually as well. You're going to find some greeting cards that highlight aging, middle adulthood and late adulthood. And then once you've done those 2 things, you're going to answer a couple of questions. How do the songs incorporate and demonstrate some of the cognitive, social, and physical milestones of being a teenager? So I'm looking that you can link the songs to the materials that we have covered in the chapter. Then you're going to think a little bit about the cards that you looked at. What were the general messages, tones, and focus of the cards? What are some of the attitudes and stereotypes that you observed related to getting older and aging? And then if you had to personally be stuck at one age for the rest of your life, what age would you pick and why? Just kind of a fun thing to think about. And if you find greeting cards, you're welcome to take pictures of them and include them in your post. And again, you don't need to go out to do this. If you would be more comfortable, you can definitely do this from home and find these virtually. So make sure with both of these that you're replying to my questions, answering them fully, getting those full points. And then don't forget to also reply to a classmate. You also, as usual, have exam number 3 this week. So exam number 3, same format and style as the first 2 tests. I've given you a study guide. If you click on this right here, you can see all of the terms and concepts that will be on the exam. So this exam is on chapters 9, 10, 11, and 12, everything that we are covering this week on motivation, emotions, human development, and personality. Remember that if it's on here, it will be on the test. If it's not on here, you don't need to worry about it. So make sure that you're studying and preparing. Again, as I've mentioned a few times now, if it were me, I would probably write or type all these terms out, but that is completely up to you. If you're doing well on the exams, again, continue to do what you're doing. It's clearly working for you. And if you wish you had done a little bit better, you might try kind of changing that up a little bit here. But the exam is on the ebook site like usual. If you click on the link here in week number 3, it will take you to the ebook site. So make sure that you are doing that, completing that before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Remember to not wait to the last minute. Please set yourself up for success. Make sure that you aren't waiting to the very last minute. That's inevitably when things go wrong. So please try and think about things early and get going on that earlier in the week. You also have self-assessment number 2. So just like the one that you took last week, now you're reflecting on your score. Now that you have half of the class completed, is there anything you want to change moving into the last half? Please be honest, you have unlimited time with this. It's worth 5 points, but it gives me a chance to have you kind of reflect and check in with all of you and see how you are doing. The last thing that we have is the extra credit. I will give you that question here in a moment. But I wanted to point out again, week number 4 is opened up for you. Since next week we end on Friday, I wanted to give you a little bit of extra time. So in theory, if you wanted to, you are welcome to work ahead. You can work on those last 4 chapters, last 2 discussions, the exam, the closing assignment, and survey. What I will do next week when we have our last live stream, and hopefully that will work out, that we can do that. My kids are home now for the summer, and again, it got complicated this morning, so I'm just doing it this way. I'm sorry about that. But next week, what we will do is I will go over all of the remaining materials. I'll give you some feedback from this week, and then I'll talk about the closing assignment, the final exam, the closing survey, and all of that kind of stuff. So we will plan on our last Twitch live stream being next week on the 14th at 8:30 in the morning. So just make that note to yourself and write that down. The extra credit question for you for this week, right? So for extra credit, optional Twitch extra credit number 3. And here you'll find the recording that you're watching right now. So clearly you found it. But the extra credit question for this is, what is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation? I'd like you to define them and give me an example of each. So what is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation? Define and give me an example of each. And that's something that you'll get from chapter 9 on motivation, both in the lecture video and also in the chapter. And when you're ready to answer that, you can click right here on optional Twitch extra credit number 3. Obviously, since there was no live stream, you don't need to worry about putting your name in the chat today. So all of you can answer this, whether you joined me live or not, as long as you're watching this later. But when you're ready, what you will do is you will just go ahead and hit that submit or start assignment up at the top. And then you can type your answer and go ahead and submit that for 5 points of extra credit. So again, I'm sorry for the little bit of a disruption in our live stream process, but hopefully this little video was helpful, kind of going through everything I would have just a little bit quicker. Get going on the materials for week number 3, read the 4 chapters in the ebook, read through the lectures, watch the lecture videos, complete the 2 discussions, numbers 5 and 6, complete exam number 3, self-assessment number 2. And if you are interested, you can do that extra credit that I just announced a minute ago. And so again, all of those things are due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. I will grade them all on Monday next week. And then we will have our last week and our last live stream on Tuesday, the 14th at 8:30 in the morning. So take care of yourselves. I hope you all are doing well. As a side note, I did have an incredible amount of cake for my birthday yesterday. I got some sun, I went to the beach, and so it was a very nice day, and I am now 41, a little bit older, right? But anyway, have a wonderful week, take care of yourselves, and I will hope to see you all for our last live stream and our last week next Tuesday.